My husband quickly jumps into another woman's bed because I refused to buy him a Rolex. Now they are going nuts because I got engaged to his new girlfriend's ex. I and my ex-husband, Kevin, divorced, and the straw that broke the camel's back was when I came home with a present for him for our anniversary, and he accused me of getting it from whoever I was sleeping with and threw it away. He didn't even open the present, a Rolex watch he had looked at multiple times and expressed liking. I talked to a divorce attorney after this, and we filed within a month, and he moved out. I told my attorney about this, and he wanted to know where he moved out as Kevin wouldn't list his new address. It was revealed he had moved in with his new girlfriend, Jenny. I knew Jenny, as our oldest kids, had been in the same class since pre-K. I also knew Jenny and her husband, Terry, just gotten divorced before us. It took over a year to finalize the divorce since Kevin couldn't agree to any terms. A few weeks after the divorce, Kevin and Jenny went public with their relationship on a luxury beach trip. Terry sent me a friend request that I quickly accepted. I'll admit, at this moment, I was being shallow because he's undeniably attractive. He's 6 feet 3 inches, tan from working outside on his farm, and fit, and he messaged me right after, just asking if I had seen the post. The conversation quickly turns into planning to get dinner and drinks one night. It was Kevin's first weekend with the kids, so Terry and I went out. It sounds sappy, but at that moment, I knew this could be something. It felt natural talking to him, and I didn't have to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around things. He was the first to look at me while I talked, and we agreed on almost everything. I invited him over after we left, and we had a few more drinks, watched a sappy love movie, and had so much fun making fun of how unrealistic it was. We finished a bottle and a half of wine, so I invited him to stay the night. He offered to sleep on the couch, but I told him he could sleep in bed since I still wasn't sleeping well and wasn't used to sleeping alone. The next morning, I made breakfast for us, and we agreed that we should do this another time, and it was great. Kevin texted me that he would drop the kids off as we ate. Terry rushed to her dressed and left. It felt terrible making him leave like that, and of course, the first thing Kevin asked was if he saw Terry's truck coming down our road. I told him nope, and he dropped the kids off and left. That was 4 years ago, and shortly after that, Terry admitted to me that he wanted a relationship, and I said yes. We kept it private because it's no one's business to know, as long as we were happy together. We just celebrated our 4th anniversary, and beginning in November, Terry started to hint that he wanted to propose and wanted me to move to his farm in another town since he lived an hour and a half away. Our anniversary was December 1st, and he planned a surprise dinner for all our friends to propose to me. I couldn't believe that he did all this for me. All our friends were incredibly supportive and agreed that we seemed happy together and deserved to be happy with each other. The next day, I made a post that we were engaged. This was the first post about Terry and I on each other's page. Right after the post, we started getting calls, texts, FB messages from Jenny's family and Kevin's family, and Jenny sent a long message to Terry saying she couldn't believe we would do this. They didn't check with them first, and how insensitive it was to get engaged when we knew she and Kevin were on a break because of the fighting. He ignored all her messages until we both got messages from my family saying we were shitty people for getting engaged despite Jenny and Kevin and how they no longer wanted to see my kids and wouldn't be attending the wedding. Terry started to help me sell my house since he also works for a real estate company, and we packed all my stuff up, sold all the furniture, and moved into Terry's house. I left and got a job at his company as a secretary. He has 2 sons, who treat me very well. They don't call me their mom, I don't expect them to either, but they tell people I'm their stepmom, and they surprised me with a basketball mom shirt with their names and numbers for Christmas. I couldn't stop crying after seeing it because it was so meaningful to see how they considered me their stepmom. Kevin had the kids for Christmas, and we were supposed to begin the normal split custody in January. Since the first of the year, the kids have said they don't want to see me, and Kevin said he's talking with an attorney to change our custody schedule and that he wants full custody. I am finally happy with someone who loves me, planning a very small wedding with only friends and family that supported our relationship, and having 2 new stepsons who love me, but I feel so empty without my kids. I took them to meet Terry, and he had been to dinner with us a couple of times. He treated them like his own, and he never got onto them or was mean to them. I feel so conflicted about what to do. My kids won't even talk to me over the phone and refuse to see me. So, am I the asshole for getting engaged to Terry? Update: after that post and the advice, I called my lawyer, who agreed that he couldn't keep the kids from me and was doing something to make them flip like that. He did say we could go to court, but I told him I wanted to try and resolve it without court first. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'll admit it. I see a therapist for my health. I talked to her about having a session with my kids, and she agreed. I called Kevin after that to say I wanted to talk with only the boys, and he could drop them off, but he could not attend. The therapist was finally able to get them to open up. He turned the story to that Terry and I had an affair for years before we got divorced and even tried to tell the youngest that Terry could be his dad because I was cheating then. This isn't true, as I never cheated on Kevin in our entire relationship. I could tell the kids the full truth, and I felt like a 50-pound weight was lifted off my chest. After, I had never been happier to hug all 3 of them. I expressed how much we missed them and were happy to have them home, and completely unexpected was all 3 hugged Terry next. Terry isn't one to cry about much or very easily, but the second they hugged him, I saw his eyes water up, and I knew I was making the right decision and had picked someone who loves these boys as much as I do. They spent the weekend with us, and I told the older 2 the full story about Kevin and Jenny, how their marriage fell apart, and invited them to live with us again. They both said they wanted to, but they didn't want to be around us since Kevin had fed them lies. They leave school in May and plan to move with us for the summer. This will hopefully be a good opportunity for them to bond with Terry's kids and their friends. I will not be pushing them to move here as it's their choice, but deep down, I hope they do. I told my youngest a more watered-down version of events. I told him that Kevin was his real dad and that what he told him about Terry was untrue. He seemed to understand it. So, for now, Kevin is fine with the boys moving here for the summer. All three asked him instead of me, which helped a lot. Showing him, it was their decision instead of mine. To say I'm excited is an understatement. I'm over the moon with how much this is working out. I've talked with my lawyer, and he said the older two can decide where they go, while Kevin and I would have to agree on our youngest. I don't want full custody as I think kids need their father in their lives, but my lawyer is urging me to fight for full custody. With travel sports starting up, Kevin and I agreed on a temporary agreement of me getting the kids on weekends that they have a game. I will pick them up on Fridays, go to the game on Saturday, and bring them home Sunday. We've been talking with lawyers about a permanent agreement. They agreed with the older two having a decision as long as they didn't miss anything required, such as school.